been chosen.
Complaints against him in his career and was disciplined for only 2. Was disciplined for career and was against him in his career and was dozen complaints against him in his career, has had more than a dozen complaints against him in his career, has had more than a dozen complaints against him in his career and was has had more than a dozen complaints against him in his career and was has had more than a dozen complaints against him in his career. Complaints against him in his career.
See.
And was
Look at this height.
For
So in this part 2 of the Derek Chauvin facial analysis, I continue my speculation with regards to these photos we were provided of Derek Chauvin. This eye-level ear height analysis was provided to us initially by Brooks Brown. I just showed you the available footage we have of Derek Chauvin in a lateral head turn. We'll go back to that footage now.
in his career.
So note how high the ear is to the eyes.
Disciplined for
I believe due to the angle of our alleged character Chauvin's head, this sagittal view is a better view to compare to the video I just showed you. So again, just look at Chauvin in motion when I press play and compare to the static image here.
Nick has had more than a dozen complaints
eye above the ear.
against him in his
Here's the eye.
career.
Eye not above the ear.
Disciplined for
Eye above the ear.
only him in his career.
Eye above the eye, not above the ear, but above the ear there.
For complaints against him in his career.
So now that we're in this view, I wanted to take this opportunity to compare other similarities and differences just from this angle we've achieved. So take a look at the noses. There's a slight knob there as the nose beaks down. I could argue the same probably exists for this nose, for this version of Chauvin. I commented before that both noses were quite beaked. Now from this vantage point, it does appear that this Chauvin's nose is a little bit larger than this version. Now the differences between the eyes become more apparent. It appears the older Chauvin has deeper set eyes with more prominent ridges compared to this version. This version of Chauvin has more hair, and the hair appears to be a darker color. Now just to confirm just this particular aspect, we have to look at this Chauvin's hair as he's in motion. So pay attention to his hair specifically.
Him in his career.
So note how sparse that is compared to that.
For only
now in further comparison of the two images, I can see that this particular version of Chauvin is most likely a larger man than this particular version. I'm making this judgment just based off of the size of the cranium, which with this Chauvin in motion appears to be larger than this static image Chauvin. Now it's perhaps possible that if we were able to get this version in motion, that we'll find that the head appears to be larger in this version as well. I'm just going by the static image here. As I mentioned previously, there's the more gradually doming slope of the forehead there, whereas with this version it goes up and then like that. So like a more steeper climb up to this point and then smooths over like that. this version, kind of like a gradual doming all through. It creates the impression that this version of Chauvin has like a shorter height for the forehead, if that makes sense. Now I want to see if this particular gaze with the rather deep set eye is present on the other version of the mugshot of Chauvin. So I'm going to compare it to that. Just briefly, this was our head-on appearance of Chauvin. Just note how deep set the eyes are for the head-on, and then look below for the mugshot. The eyes aren't as deep set. Alright, so here I have different Chauvins all on one screen. This is just analysis of the eyes. So just note how deep set this eye is. This is maybe about 1 centimeter from the edge of the brow ridge there. So again, we're going to put this Chauvin in motion with the video.
His knee on Floyd's neck has had more
So very deep set eyes there. I just appreciate that.
Against him in his career, and was disciplined.
And compare to this version. So this is the version where the head is tilted slightly to the left, causing the already low ear to appear even lower. Slight eye ridge there. Eyes not very deep set. This particular image is a little deceptive because the head is also turned slightly to the left laterally. So it creates the illusion that this eye is possibly more deep set than the other image you saw. But that's accounted for by head turn, and it doesn't match with the depth of the brow ridge that is prominently demonstrated there. As a minor point, this particular version has some hazel eyes. We can't really tell from the resolution and lighting about the eye color for this version of Chauvin. But you can sometimes get just glimpse of an idea of the eye color. It wouldn't come across to me as hazel based off of the lighting for this particular video of Chauvin. So you may ask, what's the big deal of comparing these photographs we have of Chauvin and mugshot compared to the available video we have of the man? Seems like a rather small point to argue over these little differences in imaging, but in this case, with all the consequences that have occurred since it began, the facts matter now more than probably they've ever had, at least for these types of issues. And I'm sure you've seen all of the photo fakery done for various other events in the past, as well as the common photo manipulation done by partisans to prove various points for their side. The average person does not think that people can be so organized to orchestrate an event in a manner that makes it look completely legitimate, but in actuality represents something that is complete fantasy. It seems even more difficult to believe the possibility that these individuals will orchestrate these types of events and add tales purposely for people such as myself to find, just to sort of brag about the success of the operation. If you succeed in a baneful banner, but no one really realizes your accomplishment, what was the purpose? So there's a residual level or number of analytic experts who will learn the truth, who will decide to proclaim what they have found. Those who control the big game want these investigators to spot the duper's delight. My guess is the power masters, the controllers, they must just get off of it somehow. I would like to think Debbie Harry for linking me to the video that shows Mr. Chauvin in full motion doing a turn. As far as I'm aware, that is the only example that we have of Chauvin in such a dynamic motion. This website here, 153news.net, is a valuable resource for these types of analytic videos. It's going to be one of the last bastions for this type of research, I suspect, due to the encroachment of tech on our liberties. In making this video, I do not expect to create much of an impact on the total situation, specifically with regards to finally getting to the truth of the matter. But I find this video as my testament, or I'll say rather my statement, that I do not consent to this kind of manipulation. The hour is late. We must each do our part. Farewell.